I can't even tell you. I got that email saying, hey, would you be interested in making a film about Margaret Moth? And I panicked that this must be a form letter. I don't get this all the time. I'm an actress, right? I've turned away from directing so many times. I've been offered. And I suddenly was panicked that anybody else might grab this job. And I wrote right back and promised. I made all these outlandish promises. I will find the money and I will find the producers and directors and everything. I'll make this happen. And I don't know what possessed me to say that. And the minute I pushed send, I was like, I had all this sort of self-recrimination. Who am I to say this? Who am I to promise this? But it was like Margaret owned me from that moment forward. And I'm really grateful to her and her amazing, outlandish posse for bringing me to this place and transforming my life, really. So now I'm hooked on directing. Oh, it takes a lot to shock me, actually. There was stuff that I might have had a little bit of an attitude to because, I live a life a little more in the middle. Margaret, she didn't want anything to do with motherhood, with marriage, with anything that was considered normy, and I'm not that averse to any of these things. So I might have copped a little bit of an attitude about her boundaryless appetites. And there was stuff that didn't make it into the film because it didn't feed back into the story. So a lot of really tasty stuff had ended up on the cutting room floor. But yeah, she was a woman of enormous appetites and no qualms. And she changed her name. She really hated. She struggled with male authority, or no, let's say not even just male, bullying. She hated bullying, and she was sensitive to it. So she would bitch slap a secret policeman in Iraq, for example, and that wasn't the first or the last time. But yeah, she was a really a tough chick. Yeah, it's a really complicated, deceptively complicated structure. And also we're using so many different types of mediums. There's 16 mil and old 3:4 aspect ratio television video and our own interviews, Buto dance, expressionistic dancing to cover the darkest moments of her nadir. We're using diorama and stuff. We wanted to, you got to hook people. You get like 30 seconds to hook somebody. So you got to start with something that is it's captivating. You got to get them to lean in, and you got to keep them there. So tell them who she is with the tastiest possible morsel. And then we thought the strongest place was to start with this mystery woman who shows up in Houston, Texas, and has no memory of her past. And rather than starting with we've got her a veteran television camera person, who nobody cares about your job. You got to care about the person. That's what you relate to. So I wanted to start with the hookiest thing, and that really determined how the rest flowed. So she has this personal life and a professional life that sometimes are in inverse proportion to one another's success of either one. And they dovetail quite nicely. One thing leads to another. Her lovers, they became sort of dueling lovers, and you can't tell who's a reliable witness. But I like that. I want the audience to decide. And regarding what you said before about anything that shocked me, if I had an attitude about any of it, I hope it's not in the film, because that's your privilege as the audience. Everything I'm going to put all the data out there, really dispassionately with love, sort of love and just float things out there. And now it's your problems. You as the audience are stuck with this heroine who's pretty spicy woman. You always want something new. You got to tick the new box somewhere. The most important thing to me is to hook you with character and the chiaroscuro. You got to have the light and the dark of every character, because we don't want any perfect beings. That's boring. Nobody wants it. Nobody's going to buy a ticket to that. I'm going to surprise people with the underbelly of a normal person. And then it's weirdly not just relatable, but weirdly inspiring. Like, we all want to live more authentically, and we all want to be more courageous. And this woman was courageous and authentic to a degree that is not considered polite. But in that, we're intrigued by that because we all want that a little more. There's two things, and one is a very stoic quality, which is to put aside emotional thinking and just go be useful. So you don't rant and rave and complain about it, and being angry and taking a lot of umbrage. There's a lot of the world's going through a bit of a dark phase right now. We're all hungry for justice. We're hungry for something kind and something real. Hungry for love. So there's a lot to get angry about, but that's not really helpful. So put that aside. That's a symbol that you need to do something different. Make a change in your life, but go and be useful somehow. And the other thing was move inexorably forward. It's going to be obstacles. You either go around them, go over them, go dig under, but just move forward. Just never say die. Margaret never did. Okay, the first thing I want people to take away is that if Margaret Moth achieved so much when so much had been taken away from her, who are you not to reach that little bit higher for that thing that you dream of being? Who are you not to be fabulous in your life? The other thing is that in this, I don't understand this term, but in this post-truth world, there is objective truth. And there are people at the coalface of armed conflict trying to bring images to speak for the victims of who've done nothing to earn the conflict and the degradation of their society. These people are dying to tell the truth. And so I want to bring honour to that profession. These are quite long, these answers, aren't they? I should pare them down a little bit?
No, keep going.
Okay. And the other thing is that you don't have to be a perfect person to work on the side of the angels.